let's do some market updates. Scott, why don't we kind of go in reverse here? Scott, give us what's going on Oahu, man.
Yeah, I scoured everywhere looking for little changes here and there, but nothing's changing. Dylan and I, we always kind of talk about the number of active listings on the market for single family homes, and it had been hovering around like 440, 430, and then it bumped up to about 455. And I was like, are we going to see a trend here? And this month it's back down to 438. So nothing's changed here. I mean, our median home price this month hit $1,050,000 again. And the condos are going up too. The inventory is shrinking significantly. So there's not a whole lot changing. It's pretty much status quo. Prices are going up, restricted inventory, a lot of competition. I did have success, or I am having success right now. I wrote an offer the other day on a condo, a little small 1-bedroom condo in town in the urban core, and no competition. And we're trying to get about 8% off the list price because they're overpriced, which is the trend that I'm starting to see. Sellers are starting to put their home on the market and they're trying to be aggressive with the price, which is the wrong strategy to do, which we had talked about before. But the two big things that I would say right now, I mentioned it last week about the international buyer coming. So I just called, this listing came on in Aloha, and I called the agent and he said, man, almost 3/4 of the showings that I've had have been to agents with foreign buyers doing FaceTime or Zoom showings. So it's there. That's I was talking about it, and then I talked to someone. He's like, yeah, I'm getting a ton of activity from that international buyer now. So it's there. I think it will come, and I think that will change the dynamic. The other really interesting point to understand is the conforming loan limit for Hawaii for next year will go up. It's at 822, 375,000 right now, and it's going to go up to 937,500. What that means is those conforming loans are easier to get, and they're kind of standardized loans. So when you go to a lender, they'll sell it off in the secondary market. So for one, it's easier to qualify. You can put less down and you get a lower rate. Once you get above that, then you're in jumbo loan territory. And what ends up happening is you got to put more money down, higher rate, and it gets more restrictive. So you just went from 822, 375 to 937, 500. That's going to give more borrowing power to people who are getting loans, and it's going to move people up and be able to move people up in price points. It's going to add more competition to the market.
So real quick shout out there, Ray Dix, welcome back. Ray is also a member of the Islander Ohana. And Ray, if I can make a suggestion, you got to update your profile picture because Ray is this awesome dude. He's a retired lawyer, and he's got this amazingly long ponytail, and it's just awesome. So Ray, you got to kind of show us the ponytail, dude. But anyway, it's interesting, Scott, because I wish I had a quick instant replay of the last show predictions, right? Because 1 or 2 shows ago, right? I think it was you who mentioned that foreign buyers are coming. And those foreign, once the COVID thing kind of lifts the restrictions, foreign buyers are coming with big bags of cash. And it's kind of interesting to kind of see that. So every indication I'm getting, and look, and if you think about it, right, the inflation pressures are clear. Everybody knows that inflation is not coming; it's here, and it doesn't seem to be what they believe to be was a temporary thing. It seems to be kind of perhaps a much more not quite so temporary. So you got inflation pressures, which of course real estate always follows inflation, and then you got this interest rate. So all the indicators are pointing that there's going to be more activity, and if anything, that the prices are going to jump even more. It's not going to let up. We're going to have less inventory, more activity, more demand, etc. At least that's the way I'm seeing it from what we've been saying. Dylan, what's going on the Big Island?
And to Scott's point, I keep reminding people we've taken for granted there have been no foreign buyers in our market in the last 18 months, right? So when they show up, it's gonna continue to supplement that buyer demand. But here on the Big Island, same thing, status quo. The market is still very strong. We are seeing a little bit of a slowdown on the west side of the island in terms of the number of homes and condos that are selling, mainly because there's just nothing on the market. And we're still, this is an insane comparison, right? Scott just talked about 420, 430 homes on the market. That's what we have here. We have 420 some homes on the market today. That number is normally 1,000 to 1,300, but it's insane that Oahu has the same amount of homes. There's 1 million people there. There's 200,000 people on the Big Island, right? And so there's 5 times as many people in the same amount of homes on the market, to give you some perspective on competition on Oahu. But here on the Big Island, I mean, median price continues to go up. An interesting stat this month was that the median price for homes and condos island-wide was almost exactly the same. Condos were like $10,000 less, like $488, and then
Wow.
homes were $499. Yeah, so the condo market is really on fire right now. Number of condos that have sold in the past month compared to a year ago were up 23%. So, and it already was, you know, warming up. Last September, last October is when people started coming back and the market started getting warm again. And so all the way across the board, final list to sold price is almost at 100% across the board. It's over 100% for condos. It's 98.3% for homes. It's 97% for land. So people are getting almost what they're asking across the board, 100% of it. And days on market has continued to fall, so things are selling really quickly. We're under 30 days on market on average now, which normally that's closer to 90 days. So yeah, nothing's, I mean, it's status quo. It continues to be hot. The only thing that is putting any constraint on it right now is just a lack of inventory.
This is going to be we're going to mean for a little bit of a wild ride. It's going to mean for a wild ride. And
as long as sellers don't get crazy, we keep talking about this, right? Because we're seeing this now too, where people are coming on the market. I showed 2 homes this past weekend that, you know, at 650 would sell over asking price, but they priced them at 725. So now they've been on the market for 40 days, right? So it's like, that's just a mistake. Like, I mean, if you price it at 650, you might have got 675, 700 for it, but then you price it at 725 and nobody's going to buy it. And then, you know, it's going to sit for 2 months and then everybody's going to think there's something wrong with it. So it's just a bad idea to be crazy about price or trying to be super aggressive right now, because you're totally giving away the best parts of a crazy seller's market by just pricing people. And people are not going to, they're going to pay, but they're not going to be stupid about it, right? I mean, at some point as a buyer, they're going to say, okay, I've had enough. That's out of control. So.
Well, I mean, the market, quote, the market is like the law of gravity. It's got its limits. It's not infinite, right? It still works, right? It still works. There's a price at that people will not pay. There's a price that the people will walk away. It's not going to go on infinitely. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think, you know, clearly you want to be like many friends of the Islander Ohana who are homeowners. You want to be a homeowner, and, you know, get in the market. And that's